Hello, thank you for joining us. And you always have to add a hashtag TV3 New Day to many of the communications as you go search us on TV3 Ghana across social media. We're talking about Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. As you do that, we have to put the issues in perspective. Today, we want to discuss education because teachers in pre-tertiary education are on strike, but there's a good reason among many other relevant issues they're raising why they're on strike. And it's also key among them being the appointment of a Director General for the Ghana Education Service, for which they think the Minister of Education may have perhaps not follow what the normal norms are. It's not real issues about legality, etc., but it's brought to the focus or the center a conversation about progression, concerns about if you appoint somebody outside the ranks of the structure, what it also portends by way of precedent, and how that has created some level of an industrial disharmony in the education sector. And you will know that by now. The teachers will give you an insight of the teachers who had issued a statement at a press conference for which they straight away said this will not be accepted. The appointment of a Director General, just somebody not mainstreamly from their ranks, so to speak, will be joined by Kofi Asare. He is Executive Director for Africa Education Watch. We're having in the studio Kwesi Kwarteng. And Kwesi Kwarteng, not the man who was the Exchequer boss of the UK, but sacked subsequently, but he's our own Kwesi Kwarteng. Kwesi Kwarteng is a spokesperson for the Ministry of Education. One thing I do like about him, though, he's a friend of the channel. When we call him at any point in time, he's able to respond to us. He's been one of the good spokespeople for the Ministry. Kwesi Kwarteng, good morning to you.
Good morning, Roland. Thanks for the compliments.
Yeah,
I'm
great.
grateful.
Great. Please up your voice, because the teachers are angry. So
we'll take it very calm. We are engaging them. We'll take it very calm.
Right. And then we also do have Kofi Asare. Kofi Asare is joining us on Zoom. Mr. Kofi Asare, good morning to you.
Hi, good morning, Roland. And
good morning Kofi, well, you had a bad weekend, eh?
The weekend was good.
Weekend was good, great. And then we have the General Secretary for the Ghana National Association of Teachers, Thomas Tanko Musa, also joining us. Good morning. Mr. Musa, can you hear us? Okay, so Mr. Musa.
Good morning.
Great.
To the panel members and all your viewers. Good morning.
Well,
please, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you, but I'm hoping that you're loud enough. If we can take him off until his Zoom is well straightened, I think we'll do that. Now, let's get on to the stream and get on a screenshot that Eko Asefua, who is currently the Member of Parliament for Otafo, had held the position of Kwesi Kwarteng, who is here in the studio, and let me just surprise you of what he's posted. He's a member of the Education Committee of Parliament. I thought that was very relevant to the conversation. If we have time, we'll also call him into the conversation and have. So if you're a teacher, please make sure that you join us. We're talking about TV3 Ghana. We're talking on a conversation that concerns you, the ordinary teacher. It's the appointment of a Director General for which many of you are not in favor of. We've had the leadership of the teachers also come to raise great concerns about this. So if that screenshot is available from Eko Vincent Asefua, we'll make it available. But Kwesi Kwarteng, what went into the appointment of this Director General? I know you have the Constitution in front of you. You're going to tell me that it's a legal matter.
I'm not sure it's really about being excessively legalistic, but of course, I mean, within the right framework, things have to be done within the right framework, and obviously, recourse has to be made to the very provisions of our Constitution, which is the law upon which the appointment was made. Other than that, there wouldn't be any basis.
Refer me to the law.
Yeah, I mean, if we look at even Section 19 of the Pre-Tertiary Act, I mean, it speaks about the Director General of the Ghana Education Service. And if I will read, it says the president shall, and when you talk about the president, it's referring to the president of the land, President Nana Akufo-Addo. The president shall, in accordance with Article 195 of the Constitution, appoint a Director General for the Education Service. Of course, I mean, if you want to refer to Article 195 of the Constitution, It also outlines the procedures upon which the Director General is appointed. But clearly, I mean, the bottom line is that the appointment of the Director General of the Ghana Education Service within the prerogative of the President. But like I indicated, this whole conversation has taken a bit of a moral twist. And so my coming here this morning is not excessively on that angle of being excessively legalistic. But of course, I mean, it can also be taken out of context. The context is also equally important, whether or not within the right framework the appointment was made. I mean, if you want to answer that question, it's in the affirmative that indeed it is within the prerogative of the President. Of course, we've had such some dissent and outright rejection from our union leaders, of which we are still appealing to them, engaging them, and hoping that hopefully 2 p.m. today when we meet them, we should get to some resolution and get to the bottom of it.
Mr. Thomas Musa, the press conference that you organize as the coalition of teachers in terms of the amalgamated teacher unions, perhaps you didn't do an engagement with the Ministry of Education.
So, once again, thank you very much for this opportunity. Good morning to the panel members and to all the viewers. And we thank God for the gift of life. To start the whole conversation, I think it's important that we make some few corrections. The first correction has to do with what the PR of the Ministry of Education just alluded to, that it is a moral issue. Then the second one is he was talking about legal issues, and the second one was a moral issue. Let me start with the legal issues first. Now, when we're talking about the legal issues, there are two key principles there. We have what we call the substantive issue and the procedural issue. Now, the substantive issue talks about the appointing authority. Even before we get there, it must be pointed out that there are 4 stakeholders involved in the appointment of the Director General. I repeat, there are 4 stakeholders involved in the appointment of the Director General. And these 4 stakeholders are expected to go through both the substantive and the procedural rules. Now, regarding the substantive rules, that has to do with the appointing authority. But before the appointing authority will go ahead, the other 3 stakeholders have a stake in it. So when you look at the teacher union bit, our bit is the appointment of educationists. The person to be appointed, it should be educationist. And in fact, if you look at all the 17 director generals that have been appointed since 1974 till now, people like Dr. N.O. Enim, Mr. D.V. Uredu, Professor Zangma, Professor B.C.F. Loco, Alhaji Badamoshi, Mr. S.K. Obing, and acting and director general, Mr. John Atakwesi, Mr. Alex Tete Enyo, Honorable, and all of them. These are people who are educationists. And so that is our bit. So in appointing the director general, you appoint somebody with the education background, and that is professional. And that has been our argument, and that has been the position of the appointing authority in getting somebody to be the director general. That is number 1. Now, when you come to the procedural issues, the procedure is that, like, if you look at the letter that has been signed, when that is done, it goes through the GES Council, then to the Public Services Commission, confirming it, then we are good to go. But here we are, one stakeholder has been kicked out of the whole thing. And this case, that is the teacher unions or the teachers' bit, which has to do with educationists. And I've just indicated to you all the people that have been appointed since 1974. And so to kick the teacher unions out or to kick the teachers' bit out, it raises a substantive issue. Now, let me come back again to come and talk about the legal aspect again. In the legal aspect, we have signed. Please, am I on air?
Yes, you are. Please go ahead.
Good. The other substantive issue is that the reason why the teachers have a stake in this matter is that We have a collective agreement that we have signed. And this agreement was not even signed today. It was signed as far back as 1974. And it has been like that. And the latest one that we signed was signed in August 2020 with the employer. And that, in other words, with the government. And on our scheme of service, the highest on the rank is the Director General. And I repeat, the highest in the scheme of our service is the Director General. And these things were negotiated for. Simply meaning that in appointing the Director General, all these protocols ought to be followed by appointing educationists. And that has not been done. Therefore, to say that it is a moral thing, that is not the position of the issue. And that must be corrected.
All right.
And that is what I want to say regarding that one. But your substantive issue about our concerns and all that, I think we have articulated eloquently in all, regarding all those things. And we started the engagement, and we hope that today we will continue, and we hope that we will have a fruitful outcome, all things be equal, depending upon how the issues go. So this is what I have to say. If there are any things, sorry, if there are things that I have to clarify, I will come back and clarify.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right. You're still there. You're not going, so just be there. If you say you want an educationist to be appointed, what do you mean? What's the criteria of somebody being an educationist?
When we talk about educationists, we are talking about, regardless of the course you do, if you have not gone to the training college before and you come into the education sector to be a professional, you need to do 1 year education. So, for example, you recall that at the time when the University of Cape Coast was set up, those who go there, they do 3-year program. Then when they are done, they do 1 year education. That is what that was at the time. But along the line, it is not everybody that wants to become a teacher. And so they decouple that particular 1 year. So if you go there, you go and do 1 year. And those who are interested in pursuing a career in the teaching, in education, then they will go back and go and do 1 year. They call it the postgraduate diploma in basic education, whatever it is. You go and do 1 year in education. Once you have gone to do that, then you are classified as a professional. And so you need to do 1 year education. That gives you the competencies, that gives you the required skills. Then you can come to the full as a professional teacher, then or the professional teacher. Then we build it out from there. So that is what we're talking about. At least 1 year education.
Okay, so you're saying somebody who has had some experiences or experiential moments in education, who has gone through the ranks, so to speak?
You see, regardless of the number of years, if you have not done that particular 1 year, in fact, the technical name we normally call a people teacher. We call them people teacher, but we have now changed the name to what we call the non-professional. You are a non-professional because you have not done the 1 year. Please let us be mindful.
I agree.
As far back as 1966, as far back as 1966, the status of the teacher being granted a professional status has been done. And we need to guard jealously against it. Why was NTC, the National Teaching Council, why was it set up? Is it not part of the professionalization, among other things? Why are we being paid professional development allowance? It is because it is a profession, and it must be treated as such.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Makes sense.
So when we say that you must do that 1 year program to qualify as a professional, if you have not done it, regardless of the number of years that you have taught, you remain a people teacher or a non-professional teacher.
Okay. I've been promised by my producers that we will open the phone lines for 5 minutes for teachers at the end of this conversation for them to join, and we'll make sure we make time for that. But it looks like for those who are in education, they're raising very poignant issues about at least you need to undertake the rudiments, however short or long it is. And it has to be in agreement with what the status quo is. It's not a matter of just legality. Yeah, you've opened this big constitution there. We have a deputy ranking with the Education Committee of Parliament, Dr. Clement Apang. He's also a well-drilled educationist because he's taught extensively at the University of Ghana. I've had some great interaction with him. He's now a mainstream politician, but it's also good that he's also here with us. Kofi Asare from civil society is joining us. But what's your response to what he said? I mean, what he said to me makes a lot of sense. You don't appoint square pegs in round holes.
Okay, thank you very much, Roland. I thought Mr. Musa said he was correcting an error that I made. I'm interested.
Are you insulting him?
No, I'm not sure it's fair to even use that. I cannot insult him. But I thought he said he was correcting an error that I made. Just that in his presentation, I never saw that error being pointed out. But of course, I will engage what he said. On the issue about being legalistic, I thought I made that clear, that I'm not even going to be that excessively legalistic. Of course, if you want to be a legalistic and you allude to some agreement that was made, the Constitution is very clear that all other rules, laws, agreements, understanding has to conform with the very principles of the Constitution.
To.
Yes, and to the extent that they are inconsistent, it being void. So at the end of the day, it's the Constitution which is the superior document of that land. That is settled.
And you are quoting because it's, the pre-tertiary education also says that the president...
Exactly. So if you want to...
let me ask you this. So the president can just go and appoint anybody to be an IGP?
No, I'm not sure that is where we are coming. Of course, the facts are clear, so let's restrict ourselves to...
You're quoting
no,
something
I'm coming.
No,
I am coming. So if you want to go by what the Constitution is saying, let's look at 195. Subject to the provisions of this Constitution, the power to appoint persons to hold or to act in office in the public services shall vest in the president, acting in accordance with the advice of the governing council of the service, consent given in consultation with the Public Service Commission. I mean, clearly, you understand this it's just so apparent that the meaning at no point is it the prerogative of teacher union. But of course, we do agree that we have to respect their concerns. We work with them, they are stakeholders.
But you are not taking their concerns. That's what you are saying.
No, Roland, if you are not taking their concerns, in the first place, there wouldn't even be an engagement in the first place. That's why it's because we are listening to them. So we are engaging.
It's your engagement through the Ministry of Education with the teacher union to accede to what their concerns are.
Yes, exactly.
Or it's rather that your engagement is to tell them that this appointment is legal, it makes a lot of sense, and then it's within the remit of the Constitution. Because that's what you are saying here.
No, Roland, you won't allow me to land. And I mean, if you had allowed me to at least finish what I was saying, probably you could get the import of what I was saying. Of course, I wanted to set the pretext of my conversation that in the first place, if you want to talk about appointment of who becomes a DG, it is within the prerogative. I mean, that was the question that you asked, that what is the procedure? And I answered you. But of course, now I'm not coming to the substantive issue that Mr. Musa has raised. First of all, he speaks about the appointment of DG. I mean, at some point, unions may have to come in, they have to be consulted. And listen, let's go into their own press statement that they brought out. And they said that 17 director generals have been appointed to serve at the GES. Out of this number, 5 were professors from the academia who were known to have operated in the education space. Perfect. So even the teacher unions admit that out of these 17, DGs that has been appointed, I mean, in time past, 5 of them strictly came from the academia. Let me reference you to somebody like Professor Amiya Okunfi. He was a zoologist. He became a Director General of the Ghana Education Service, rose to the rank, and even became the Minister for Education. I have always insisted that one of our best performing ministers, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, who even sat at the apex of not only an agency of the ministry, but the entire education ministry, is a medical doctor. But of course, I mean, the argument that has been advanced on why Dr. Nkansa should be rejected is that he's a banker, he's not an educationist. First of all, Dr. Nkansa is not a banker. If you look at the summary of his career ambitions and career goals and all what he's left for, I mean, somebody who have apparently taught in the academia for the past 14 years, also being within the Ministry of Education as the Director of Education, cumulatively for, I think, 2 years. So cumulatively, you're looking at about 16 years. If you look at such a person with 16 years history within the education space, and rather focuses on the fact that he some way, somehow, some years ago, did banking, and so for that matter, he's a banker. I really cannot marry the two. Roland, I'm not sure your first job was in the media. Probably you were a teacher. Today, nobody can look into your face and say that you were a teacher. You were a journalist. So you have Dr. Nkansa, who at some point left the banking space within, 2010. Between 2010 till now, he has been within the education space having taught within the pre-tertiary space for a number of 6 years, also taught within the university, that is academia, that our friends are also making reference to, for 8 years. And if you still want to call such a person as a banker, I really do not get it. Again, if you look at the GES office, it's purely an administrative office. In an administrative role, you are also going to work with technical persons and technical people. And those are also going to guide you.
But that's the problem that the teachers have. You are putting square pegs in round holes.
What,
So
what do you mean by square
wait.
pegs?
You have 30 minutes. You'll be talking a lot. Let me speak to Kofi Asare. Kofi Asare is with the Africa Education Watch, one of the leading think tanks doing research, great research. They're always coming out with policy interventions by way of advisory to the Republic of Ghana and on the African continent. Good morning to you, sir.
Hello, Roland.
Yes.
Good morning.
Now let's speak to the substantive. I think the labor unions are speaking from a position where they feel that a precedent should be set in which that one day there's not arbitrariness or abuse within the structure of the appointment of the leadership of the Ghana Education Service and then other quasi-education institutions as well. And that should make sense for you before we even come to the administrative aspect, right?
Well, I appreciate where the Chinese are coming from. As I keep saying, it is their right to act in a manner to protect the pride of their profession. And I'm happy we've gotten to a point where it is now clear that it is not an issue of the incompetence of Eric, but then it is a professional issue. Okay, not an issue, not that an incompetent person has been appointed by His Excellency to head the GES, but then it is because of a professional principle, a principle based on, or informed by the profession, which is the teaching profession. What I see is that in terms of experience, we don't need to repeat it again. The gentleman has taught at all levels, basic, secondary, tertiary, for a combined period of about 10 years. And so obviously it's not new in teaching. Unlike me, I haven't taught before. So he's not new in teaching. And then also he has also been director tertiary at the Ministry of Education. So he's also not new in the corridors of policy making. Let me indicate that broadly, Roland, this is an issue I see as a conflict arising as a result of a lacuna in the law versus established convention. Thomas, who is a very good friend of mine, has actually taken us through the established convention. Okay, and then if you pick the law, you realize that there is no qualification attached to the Director General of the GES under section, I think, 19 of the pre-tertiary law. Compared to the Education Regulatory Bodies law, if you read the section on National Teaching Council, the head of the National Teaching Council has a qualification that a person must be a registered teacher with at least 10 years professional experience. So you would always appreciate that, within it was the intention of the framers of the law, to ascribe qualification to some of the positions and others the opposite. In this case, I think that the only way out is for the teacher unions, whom I call the professionals, to keep engaging. We need to keep social dialogue spaces open. And the issue shouldn't be packaged as if they are rejecting, denouncing, or rejecting the appointment powers of the president per 195 of the Constitution. But it must be approached in a manner that, at the end of the day, profess or presents an opportunity for teachers, to have a win-win. I think that where the issue has gotten to, the minister has been making efforts to resolve this matter in the past 2-3 weeks. And I know that all those efforts haven't worked fully. That's why we have some of the teacher unions going on strike. And the minister himself is seen as one who has an interest in the matter because the gentleman was working as his advisor.
Okay.
I think the president will have to intervene at this point. We don't have to wait for this to become a fully blown.
Right. Right.
The president will have to intervene at this point and have a discussion with the teachers. On Friday, we had a meeting. We had a discussion with the president. I would have raised this issue if I knew that the teachers had declared a strike. But by the time that meeting was taking place at the Flagstaff House, I wasn't aware that a strike had been declared. I think that the earlier the president intervenes in this, the better. Because the minister has done a lot to try and prevent what we are discussing. Unfortunately, because he's seen as having an interest or an interested party in this whole thing, it is becoming a bit difficult. I'm also not too sure about how the Genius Council, which the teacher unions are represented on, has responded to this issue so far. It would be interesting to find out from Thomas how the Genius Council has been able to, or the extent to which they've tried to manage or resolve this conflict at that level.
Very much. We'll try and get onto the stream and or the phone lines and call Vincent Akosua. Is he a member of the committee?
Yes.
He's a member of your committee. Okay, I'll let you speak. When you start, you don't end quickly.
Is that so?
Yes, it's true. And then he's a member of parliament for Otafo. But I'm calling him because we have to put all these matters into perspective and also try to get an understanding that if some pre-stakeholder engagement was undertaken before this appointment, perhaps, if you know that you're undertaking an appointment that is outside the norm of the people who tend to occupy the position, then could he have served better? But let me pose that question to you. Could we have done some pre-stakeholder engagement before, even though the Constitution says the president has a prerogative, pre-tertiary education?
Unions have not objected to the procedure.
Relax. I've never seen you aggressive. When you're with Johnny Hughes, you are cool. Please.
No, I'm not aggressive.
Don't heckle
No,
me.
he's under pressure.
Don't heckle me.
But it is not your
Oh, no.
Tell him that the pressure on him is not your fault.
Okay,
No, I'm saying that
he has no pressure.
procedural issues have not been challenged by the teachers.
No.
That is very important.
But
to
I'm
note.
saying relax.
Well, let me say good morning to you and Kwesi here.
If Vincent comes, I'll catch you.
That'll be fine. Okay. Fellow panelists, and of course viewers in Bulsa South, Bulsanamena, Mapusinamena. Roland, to cut a long story short, though the president has a prerogative to make appointments, including appointing the Director General, we also know that there are some processes that would inform that. Clearly, one of them would be a recommendation of a potentially suitable candidate by the Minister for Education to the GES Council. And it is on the approval of the council that the minister then forwards a written request to the presidency asking for that person to be given the said appointment. Whether that was done or not, I cannot confirm or deny. And that is why it is important, as Kofi Asare said, that we get to know and authenticate if some of these processes, even if benign, were followed. And I think the reason why there are processes and procedures is to get the buy-in of major stakeholders. Yes, the president can appoint. But when an appointment is made which is not deemed to be acceptable to major stakeholders, in this case, we are speaking about a combined working population of teachers, professional teachers, in excess of 400,000, whose work day in and day out impacts the lives of over 8 million Ghanaian students and pupils. You don't take them for granted. But in this case, if you hear the teacher unions and the way they have argued their case, clearly they were not consulted. their opinions were not sought.
Well, Kwesi Kwarteng said they don't need to be
I
consulted.
know, but yes,
the law is,
but you
is
see,
clear.
this is where
Roland.
this is where we have to be
Kwesi, you are my friend. Stop making me.
emotionally matured about how we do things. Yes, the law is there. The president can do it. Well, he has done it. The teachers are on strike. Over 8 million Ghanaian students and pupils today, as we speak, are not receiving instruction. Is that what the president wants? I mean, are you telling me that the president is going to stand his grounds by keeping Dr. Nkansa to the detriment of some over 8 million Ghanaian pupils and students? No.
Okay.
So whilst the law is there and gives the president the powers to do what he has done, it must be done within the context of acceptability by major stakeholders in the sector. And that is why we cannot dismiss the demands of the teacher unions.
Okay.
Because they have acted, and where this has reached, there is a stalemate. As the Americans would say, something has to give. It is either Dr. Nkansa is maintained, and the teacher unions would have to be persuaded to rescind their decision, or he is made go, and somebody more suitable by their standards
Right.
is brought on board. For me, the argument is as
Mr.
simple
Thomas
as
Musa,
that.
are you still on the stream? Okay, please unmute for me.
Can I proceed?
Yeah, no, you don't proceed. I asked the question, sir. I'm reading a lot of concerns from teachers on our stream, TV3 Ghana. You go to TV3 Ghana and the stream there. Many of them are indicating that teachers are not respected in this country of ours. It's high time we stand for what is right. And that's from Kodo Bisa, Celine. And then we also do have a question from Dick Mensah, whether a medical doctor can be appointed to become the Chief Justice, for example. Why are teachers being treated? So my question is your rank and file dissatisfied with this appointment because they think that a bad precedent will be set, where we know that within all the concerns that have been raised from the Education Committee about the law and what had been intended to be in place, even regional directors and district directors could be appointed in consultation with the president, etc. And so anybody could be appointed, and that could raise concerns for teachers.
Okay, so thank you very much. But it's important that I make some clarification before we go ahead. It seems to me that Kwesi Kwarteng is still maintaining. If I said that the work is an administrative thing, please, that is an erroneous impression that must be corrected. If you look at Section 20 of the law, if you look at the Section 20 of the Education Act, it is not only about administrative work that we are talking about here, but it is quite involving. Number one, we have the day-to-day administration of the service. Number two, we have coordination of the education policies, activities of the regional district level, subject to the general directive of the council. Then we have the appointing, promotion, transfer, discipline, and dismissal of heads. Now, hitherto, this particular mandate was given to the Ghana Education Service Council. But under this particular law, this mandate has been given to the Director General. And like I have said, this particular whole thing we are talking about is a professional issue. It's not an administrative issue. And the key issue that we are stressing here is that you are talking about somebody who is coming to implement the educational policies of this particular country. And so at all material time, I have mentioned names to you. I have mentioned names like Dr. N.O.N.U. I have mentioned names like Uredu, Jangma, Loko, Badamoshi, Obi, Atakwesin, Teteno, and many Buddha Smith and co. I have mentioned names to you. It is not for nothing that these people were appointed there. So if somebody today is telling us that it is about a moral thing, it is not a moral thing. We negotiated for this particular thing. Are they telling us that when the people came to the negotiating table, then we put it into our collective agreement as far back as 1974, it was an error? That cannot be. So please, Kwesi Kwarteng should not throw dust into the eyes of the people. He should be mindful, because we have already made some progress on Friday. The way he is going, he will exacerbate the issues and create more problems for the negotiation this afternoon. And at the table, we told the deputy minister that when he goes back, he should talk to Kwesi Kwarteng, because we have not been happy with his pronouncement. And he looks like he's going on the same tangent this morning by telling us that that particular position is an administrative work. We think that we don't take kindly to this kind of pronouncement, and you should be mindful. Otherwise, this afternoon this afternoon the issues might degenerate. And I want to believe that the Deputy General Secretary the Deputy Minister of Education has cautioned him already. Then he should be mindful. I will not repeat myself. Then the other aspect is that, look, Roland, we have people who have gone to do banking. They came and GES told them that they are not professionals, and that those certificates were not recognized. There were people who went to do health programs. There are many teachers out there who went to do a program in health. When they came in, the service did not recognize them. How come then there is a sudden change and people are telling us that it's a moral situation? If it's a moral thing, why were those teachers rejected? Why were those teachers rejected? We were told that per our own collective agreement, among other things, those teachers cannot be upgraded. We have accepted it. What has changed that today? We are saying that there is nothing wrong. It's an administrative thing. Please, I repeat, teachers are not happy. And I repeat, teachers are not happy. However, some progress has been made on Friday. Let nobody make an attempt to derail that particular progress that has been made. Because we believe that this afternoon, we should be able to build on what has been done already, and we take it out from there. And Kwesi Kwarteng, once again, please be mindful of your utterances by telling us that the work is an administrative work. We don't take kindly to those utterances. If you don't know, you have never taught before. You are not a professional teacher. I have been teaching since 1989. I know what goes into our profession. So don't come and tell us that it's an administrative work. Please be careful.
Teachers to join the conversation so that they're also in line with what we're talking about. But there's something that Mr. Kofi Asare, leading one of the best think tanks in education we have in Ghana, Africa Education Watch, has raised. And I want to pose that question to you, Mr. Musa. The teacher unions, your presence on the Ghana Education Council, how did they contribute to this? Were you consulted, etc.? Because you should know that, I mean, they want to appoint a new DG.
So, Roland, as we speak now, the council is yet to meet. The council is not aware, so the council is yet to meet. We have checked. The council has not met.
No,
the
wait.
Mr.
Musa, relax. Are you saying that all these things were done behind you, no consultation?
Nothing. We were not aware. We were not aware. Why are we here today? We are here because of those challenges. And we have indicated that we negotiated for this particular thing. Our bit of the whole thing is that appoint educationists. That is all. And then for somebody to tell us that it's an administrative thing,
all right,
and it's blah, 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 blah. Please, we take exception to that. It is about implementation. Then when it comes to implementation, you need a professional to implement the policies. We are not in good times. And we need a professional to help us attain to ensure that by 2030, the sustainable development goal 4 will be achieved. You need a professional to help us take us there. So that by sustainable goal 4, as provided in the SDG, will be attained by 2030.
All right.
Let nobody come and tell us that it's an administrative work and anybody can do it.
Musa, this interview, it's not union. The way you are shouting, it's like union. Please relax so that we'll have this conversation. I know that the teachers are also worried. I can see it on the timeline. Mr. Kwesi Kwarteng, on 20th of October, you made this post public. You know, the internet doesn't lie.
Yeah, which post?
So you said the logic that you've got to have had only a teaching career before you can manage the Ghana Education Service is not only illogical but shameful. The role of a GES boss goes beyond teaching. Alas, it is more administrative. Besides, not everyone within the GES space is a teacher or non-teaching staff. What happens to them, assuming such logic is to be sustained? Our union leaders must come again. You see the position you hold when you write this. Is it fair?
I think TV3 has a way of always inflaming passions and making government look bad.
Hey.
No, allow me to land.
Are you sure you can support this statement?
No, I mean, Dr. Park, let me land respectfully.
So you are saying that I created this situation?
No,
especially.
You are my friend. So why is that?
No, Roland. You see, Mr. Musa is at a different level. The expectation was that after he finished his presentation, we'll calm nerves down. as soon as you introduce that, and especially at a time where we are having engagement with them, ultimately, who benefits from this? Well, at the end of the day, I mean, Mr. Musa has made his presentation. I have made my presentation. I feel I've not been treated well, especially by.
You can respond to it.
No, I'm not going to respond, because in a conversation where one party reserves the right to make all, claims, and the other party expects to be muted, I don't think such a conversation is a very fair one. But of course, I mean, in the interest of the labor harmony, especially within the teaching space, in the interest of the 8 million students that we have, that probably may be not having the opportunity to be taught in schools, I am not going to respond to a lot of the issues that he raised. What Mr. Musa raised, for me, what is most important is that this afternoon, parties once again get to the engagement table and are able to resolve the issue. Because for me, I'm not sure it will be so much of any significance that Kwesi Kwarteng will be pointed as that you were the reason why we are still on strike. I'm not sure even the education minister will be happy himself, knowing very well the efforts that he's put in. For me, at the end of the day, my duty here is to make Ghanaians understand that the president made an appointment. We believe that, of course, I mean, this whole argument about the fact that his education is not education, of course, I mean, the Parliamentary Select Committee, of which Dr. Park serves on, have apparently come to him, congratulated him, and also pledged to work with him.
It's not true.
Well,
we have not done that.
Well, your leadership came. Your leadership came.
We have not done that. We have not done that.
Dr. Park, you can. Well, it may not be a unanimous thing, but
it was a
your leadership
interaction.
Dr. Park, can you note it down?
He has mentioned the committee.
The committee have not responded to it. They've not responded to
You
it.
have been asked. The director
Can I proceed?
The teachers
asked to withdraw
Roland,
that statement and apologize.
Roland, you are the one mediating. You are the one mediating. When I objected,
Education
Mr. Park,
has not
Dr.
done
Park,
that.
I'm going to do the same thing. I hope you enjoy it when I do the same
You
thing.
can say that.
No, so let me land. You have the chance to
Dr.
react
Park,
to. I mean,
please
respectfully.
note it down
It's
so that
only
you can
fair that you
respond
allow
to
me
it.
to land.
Yeah, please.
The education committee has come to him. As at now, we've not had any official response. That speaking in contrary to what I've just said, unless what Dr. Parker says.
So you're saying that from the time you made the post,
I'm
we have
saying that-
moved forward.
Exactly, that was the point. You have moved forward, and like I said, my as a Minister of Education, the focus is that we are able to resolve this impasse. I'm not sure anybody benefits from this. Neither am I sure even the teacher unions themselves, they benefit from it. Of course, if we want to reduce the whole conversation about the nitty-gritties of it, the details of it, we may have our position. The Ministry of Education, initially, we made our position clear. That, this whole point about whether or not he's an educationist, even people have argued that even within the GES space, there are still some professionals, non-professionals, teaching and non-teaching staff. So at the end of the day, what also happens to them. But I'm sure that is not the tangent that we all want to go.
Okay.
What is most important is that at the end of the day, we calm the lives of Mr. Thomas Musa, Mr. Angel Kabonu, and Mr. Kenali. We calm all of them down. And I plead with him respectfully. If it has to take me for them not to get to the classroom and today disrupt every negotiation process that they have, I am pleading with him on TV. I apologize. I retract everything that I said. In the interest of the students, they should go back to the classroom. We appeal with them.
Mr. Kofi Asare.
Yeah.
If you take a look or observation of what Mr. Musa has said, Mr. Kwesi Kwarteng has said, how important was the pre-stakeholder engagement and then the use of the platform, the Education Council, very important before the appointment was announced, or even maybe the selection, so to speak, of who appropriately should head the education service should have been?
Well, I think it's important that the law and the civil service put in place all the structures. In managing the relationship between employees and employers, so keeping social dialogue spaces and platforms active is critical. You understand? You may not achieve full consensus on whom the decision will follow, in respect of who should become the DG or any other appointee. But, a measure of consensus, is critical in achieving harmony. I think that we need to keep social dialogue spaces open. and take decisions based on consultation, with emphasis on a significant degree of consensus. You may not achieve full consensus. Some of the issues we are discussing, I believe, could have been averted if the teachers were much more involved in the processes leading today. But for me, the most important thing is that as we find ourselves in this hole, the only way we can get out is by joining. The solution to this problem is only found around the table. And around the table, we must respect each other's views and opinions. We must keep social dialogue spaces open in communicating. We shouldn't speak with the sense of entitlement. Neither should we take entrenched positions. I believe that we, at the center of this, is the learners. And so I continue to urge the unions and government to have a discussion on this. I think there's a solution to this issue. It is not.
What's the solution? What's the solution?
The solution is that the teacher unions and government should continue the discussion that is ongoing at the Ministry of Education. If it gets to the point even where the president has to intervene, I have said that based on the level of importance the government attaches to education and the fact that over 400,000 staff, I'm talking about the largest, employer in the country, are involved, should there be the need for an intervention by His Excellency, it should be done immediately, because we don't want the strike to drag into week one. We don't want to end 1 week of strikes, because already we already are facing similar strike actions at the tertiary level, and we know how public basic schools are already, disadvantaged in many respects compared to their private schools. And so we want to continue to urge teacher unions and government to dialogue. I think that I don't envy the Director General at all, because no one would wish that he finds himself in such a situation. It is not his fault that he has been appointed by His Excellency to serve. I hope that all this shouldn't, I hope that he remains focused, because he has a duty to deliver, and he cannot renege in delivering that duty because of the agitations and the conflicts surrounding his appointment. And so keeping focused, keeping focused in the midst of this conflict resolution is also very, very important. I believe that we can find a solution which will be a win-win for both the teacher unions and then also for
there's a meeting this afternoon, and so how, if we have your colleague Vincent Ekor Assefuah, member of Parliament for OTAF, who is a member of your committee, saying that when you have an ill-conceived, selfish and baseless recommendation emanating from the Ministry of Education to the Presidency to relieve an educationist at the helm of affairs and bring in an alien to the industry, this is what happens. I mean,
well, that should tell you.
Is that the feeling within the Education Committee?
Well, the Education Committee has not met on this matter, and that is why this purported endorsement of the appointment of the new Director General by the committee is preposterous. It hasn't happened. And that is a member. I am a member. And if you hear my utterances vis-a-vis what he's saying, it should tell you.
So you are not in favor of this appointment?
How can we endorse it when we were not consulted, we were not part of the processes, and we have seen how major stakeholders have come out very forcefully in rejecting the said appointment? So the committee clearly has not endorsed. But the only reason why the committee cannot speak as a unit publicly is because, parliamentary processes and procedure. We have not been formally petitioned by the teacher unions. So if Vincent is expressing his opinion about, the appointment, describing it as unreasonable and backward, that is his opinion. I would not use such harsh words. But my point has and remains that we need to weigh the two sides and make a decision. And in this case,
two sides?
Well, you have the teacher unions up in arms against the appointment. So the resolution would take one of two forms. The appointing authority would have to revoke this appointment so that they can go back to teach, or the appointing authority can maintain this appointment and they will continue to be on strike, or perhaps even a third option would be to find a compromise between the teacher unions and the appointing authority. But cognizant of the victims of this situation, over 8 million Ghanaian students and pupils, that is the future of this nation. So one person and the appointment of that person should not hold their future to ransom. So if I were the appointing authority, I think by my submission, the solution is clear. It is not going to hurt the system, hurt the president, hurt the ministry, and hurt GES if this appointment is reversed. I'm sure there are many, many other well-qualified persons that perhaps the minister would like to recommend that he can work with to the presidency to appoint, to occupy that same position without all of this hullabaloo that has serious implications
My
for
director
the
is saying
future
I
of
have
our
to go
wards.
for a break. But let me, Mr. Thomas Musa, are you still there?
I'm here.
If you enter into the meeting this afternoon,
Yes.
and the Minister of Education,
wait.
please let me ask the question. And they are maintaining, they are maintaining to keep this appointment. What will be your position, or what will make you side with the ministry to keep this appointment in place?
Well, Roland, thank you very much. Regarding the rules of engagement, it will be premature for me to start discussing or to start commenting on matters on the table, or to be making projections. Any attempt to do that will simply mean that I will be speaking for and on behalf of government. So I think let us allow the table, because we went to them, indicated all our issues, and normally in social dialogue, once you have indicated all the concerns you have, they will then give us the response. So I think this afternoon at 2 p.m. when we meet, all their response to all the issues that we have raised will determine the way forward. So regarding whether they bring A or B or not, I think it's better we defer those things after 2 p.m. when we have met them and we are open. You see, let me make this statement here. Myself, Thomas Musa, Nat, Nagrat, CCT, we have said that it is not about Dr. Eric Nkansa. No, it's about the principle. And we go to the table with an open mind. We don't have any entrenched position that this is A or B. No, we go to the table with an open mind, then the discussion will be fruitful. So we started the thing on Friday, and today we shall continue. So I cannot at this time make any projection that this is what is going to happen and this is what will not happen. I cannot do that. So let us allow the table to determine all the issues that will come up. Even unexpected issues that you have not even thought of can come up at the table.
Okay.
So we are ready. We are ready to go to the table at 2 p.m. to engage.
Okay, so that the appointment will be maintained.
No, I can't confirm that.
But you can confirm you will be attending.
Certainly, I'll be there, but I cannot confirm any other thing than attending.
For the appointment
And
to be
also,
maintained.
I cannot confirm that one. I cannot.
Teachers, you are wild though. Anyway, Mr. Kofi Asare.
Yeah, let me, in conclusion, say that I have confidence in Thomas and his team to negotiate a win-win in this matter. I know that in their negotiations, the public's interest will be supreme. But let me indicate that I am a bit taken aback by the comment that Vincent made. I don't think that it is in good taste for a member of parliament.
Why a member of parliament should not have an opinion?
No, to say that the president's appointment is unreasonable.
What is wrong? What is wrong with that?
It is unacceptable. I find Vincent's comment on the president's appointment also unreasonable and unfortunate. Just because the president has appointed someone who doesn't belong to your camp doesn't mean that you must
Please,
call
which
the
which
president.
camp are you talking about? Because all this conversation we're undertaking is devoid of
That's another layer.
camps. Please, what camp are you talking
enter
about?
that one soon.
Mr. Kofi
Just
Asare,
because the
Africa
president
Education
has-
Watch.
Just because the president has appointed someone from outside your camp doesn't mean that you will rubbish the president's appointment by calling it unreasonable. If the president's appointment is unreasonable, what you are saying is that the president acted unreasonably, and he must retract that, because his response is actually rather unreasonable and unfortunate and unbecoming of a member of parliament.
Okay. Kofi Asare, relax. You are not an MP. He's an MP, so he's speaking like an MP. And somebody who has been in the position before. So that's where we have to go. We have to go for a break. When we come back, we'll continue with this conversation. But I promise that I'll have 5 minutes. The producer and the director have given 5 minutes for teachers to call in and also add their voice to this, whether they agree to this appointment or they don't agree. 5 minutes. I promise that. We're taking a break. We'll be right back.
Teacher unions have a collective agreement. And in the collective agreement, there's room for consultation. There's room for the parties to not just to consult, but there is promotion also for the people who work in the Ghana Education Service and the various educational setups. You cannot sidestep that arrangement where people will have to go through stages and get promoted, and something that they have lived with for all these years. Suddenly, there appears to be a variation without bringing it to their attention. Even though the employer has the right to employ, when you employ, in this case, such a level, the person will have to get the cooperation of these social partners and their members for the many years, especially looking at him and his age, for the many, many years that, God willing, he might be in that institution.
That's Austin Game, a distinguished and very experienced labor consultant and expert. And Nkosi Kwatin, you have to listen to reason. This afternoon, you have to conclude and remove the man from office. Appoint somebody that is agreeable to all stakeholders. What do you say?
Roland, the essence of engagement.
It's a question, it's not a statement.
Yeah, the essence of engagement is for the two parties to come to a middle ground. That is consensus building. So no party goes in with that entrenched position. As at this stage, we are all flexible, like Mr. Thomas Musta indicated. So, of course, I'm not going to prejudice what they are going to discuss, but the expectation is that the two parties should be able to come to some middle grounds, and I'm very hopeful.
What's the middle ground? So that by the time they are going into the meeting, their minds are softened.
I'm more interested in the outcome of the middle grounds, which will get our teachers back to the classroom. For me, that is the focus that I have. I mean, just a bit about Vincent. I mean, just what Dr. Park was saying.
No, Kofi is claiming that there are camps. Me, I don't know the camps. So I asked him, but he swept the question.
I'm not going to react to the bit about the camps. I'm not sure it is relevant here. If you are a teacher, that's not what your focus should be. For me, what I believe is that if you look at Vincent's comment, it's something that he himself has deleted. So
he has deleted the comment.
Yeah, so I don't even think
but
he
I have the
associates
screenshot
himself.
though.
I mean, he's deleted. It means that he doesn't even believe in it again. So I mean, that's why I'll end. So I'm not sure it's something that we should really stand by because he himself has deleted it. He doesn't.
So we won't ask any question on
he doesn't believe in it again.
Let me give you a minute to wrap up and then appeal to the
Well,
faction.
ours is to urge a resolution to this impasse as soon as possible. As I indicated earlier, if you look at the numbers involved in terms of the teachers vis-a-vis the beneficiaries of their diligent and dedicated service, the over 8 million students and pupils, we ought to prioritize the plight of the pupils and students. So whatever it takes to resolve this matter, it ought to be done and done as soon as possible. So we wish them well as they reconvene at 2 p.m. This afternoon to deliberate. But there has to be a solution to this issue so that teaching and learning does not suffer. As is the case, there are so many issues that are affecting the sector.
Okay.
And we cannot let this one compound an already worrisome situation. So they should find a resolution. If that means that somebody must be sacrificed, so be it.
Okay. We're opening the phone lines. The phone lines will be on your screens very soon. It ends with 98. If you are a regular on the show, please call now before we even display.
You're lucky.
Only teachers, so don't be a communicator from some place and be saying you are a teacher. Please, only teachers. They are striking, led by their teacher unions, because they say they don't like the appointment of the new Director General of the Ghana Education Service. So please call in now. The number is on your screen, 0302 973. Then we also do have 198. Yeah, so I need to be doing a lot of chew and pull of the numbers now. I apologize. Please call. If you're a teacher, what do you make of the appointment? We have Lois. Lois from Ho, good morning. Lois, good morning.
Good morning, Roland.
Yes. Please go ahead. What's your own opinion and sentiment as a teacher? I believe you're a teacher, right? Please put your or mute the sound of your television.
Okay, Roland, thank you for the opportunity.
And then speak to me directly.
I am a teacher. And so I want to say that we are in support of our leaders of whatever that they are doing. In fact, the teaching profession needs to be respected. We need to be respected for once. You can't allow a non-professional to come and lead professional teaching. And so we are urging our leaders on that. When they go to the negotiating table this afternoon, they should make sure that a teacher who is a professional leads us. We can't allow this to go on. Teachers are leading from every angle. In fact, when you go to the classroom, the teacher is leading. When you go to educational offices, the teacher is leading. One of these years, we need a teacher to also go and lead us as a professional there. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Lois. Lois calling us from Ho. Please, the line is on the screens now. Let us hear from you and let us know what you think about the appointment of the new Director General of the Ghana Education Service, for which we have the teachers on strike led by the teacher union. The number is 030-9731 as well as 98. Please call us now. Okay, so we have 030-297-3198. Please call and let us know what you think about the appointment. So we have Gaddafi, teacher Gaddafi from Aveime.
Yeah.
Teacher Gaddafi, how are you?
I'm doing well, and you, Mr. Roland?
Yes. Why is it that you can't just accede to what the president has done? Appointment made in consultation with the president.
I'm very happy in support of my leaders. It's a long time teachers are respected in this country. You know, there are a lot of issues. Even laptops, they take our money for. As of now, we have not received them.
Okay.
They just mistreat us. So if they should just put somebody else on us, please, you should go. We want a teacher to lead us. That's all.
Okay, we're told that he taught small within the education, and then he's been around for the last 40 years. He's a director within the structure, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, matter, we need a teacher. Because in education service, you are told that if you go out to go and do a course that is not related to education, you will not be accepted. So how come somebody who has not even at least do a semester course in education will become our leader? What kind of society are we creating? We will just be there. Once people have gone through all the ranks, they are also marking time there so that they will become a director. Then you go and bring somebody else without consulting us. It's an insult to us. If you give us that respect.
All right. So please
there are a lot of issues. If really this minister cares for us, teachers, since the beginning of this, administration, teachers have not been going on holiday. We've not been going on holiday. Those of us teachers in a single track school. From 2017 to now, no holiday. Why?
All right.
Why? Why we be treated as animals? If the animals, they give them place to rest.
Oh,
so
boss.
we are happy for this strike. At least we are resting today.
Well, we have this one from Yakubu Idrisu. Please make sure that you keep the calls coming. The lines are on your screens. Yakubu Idrisu says, teachers go for promotion every 4 to 5 years to move to the next round. So why suddenly would the president impose someone who is not qualified to be the DG for teachers just to accept him? if this is allowed by the unions, very soon the president will appoint party boys to head secondary and junior high schools across the country. And that is the fear among the teachers in the profession. And, so someone with PhD is not a teacher, but we can have a teacher who is also a PhD holder. It makes a lot of sense. And somebody who has gone to a training college and feels he's rather a professional teacher and also has a PhD is lying there idle and not being appointed. Well, we have Christian from Christian, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Yeah, please go ahead. Your concerns about the...
Thank you very much. I'm a teacher calling from Ho.
Yes, please go ahead.
Please, I think what our leader, especially Thomas Musa, is saying is reasonable enough. Other colleagues also indicated same. If you are a teacher and you go for further studies, it is there black and white. If you have not done, the courses that are approved by GES are there. If you have not done any of these things, you come back, whether you have upgraded yourself or not, you will be on the same rank. You will never be upgraded. So it is clear that if you have not done education-related courses, you will never be upgraded to that level. So that man, the appointee, as it appears, is not educating it. So we are in support of the leaders. You will not accept.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And Gorman Gabriel says that we're told that he was teaching at Kintampo SHS between 2002 and 2000, yet he completed first degree in 2006. My question is, what qualification was he using to teach senior high school in 2002? Hey, teachers, so you're asking questions. So, okay, so that'll be the last call now.
Interestingly, it's amazing the course is only coming from one end.
Okay.
No, it's interesting. And
where the calls coming from?
I mean, you are the host. It's just interesting. But I mean, for us, what is most important?
So are you saying that we're generating the calls? Or what?
I mean, Ghanaians are reasonable.
Okay.
I'm not going to speak to that.
Okay, the teachers are saying that.
But the calls are coming from everywhere.
No, it comes from one end. You should have seen the trend.
What is one end?
I'm not going to mention places, but
you cannot make such an accusation.
No,
without
I'm saying that that's the message somebody just sent me. That why isn't it amazing that TV3, which covers the whole country, the cause is just coming from one end. Yeah, it's interesting.
I'm still trying to get the trend.
You didn't. I will tell you after the show. Roland knows. Roland knows.
I don't know.
You don't know.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised you're making.
My friends are calling. They say you are not
Please,
picking.
the laptops. When are they going to come to? Not everybody has received them. I think they are saying that they want to receive them.
Yeah, those are all outstanding issues that the new Director General is looking at.
Okay.
So hopefully we should be hearing from GES very soon.
Alexandra from Kwewu. Alexandra, good morning.
Good morning.
You're also calling from one end.
That's what I'm hearing. I'm very surprised that this is happening over there.
Okay. Are you also a teacher?
I am a teacher.
Okay, and you support the Director General's appointment, right?
No, I don't. In fact, most of us don't. About 90, you can say 90% of us don't support what is going on in Ghana.
Why is that?
Teaching it. Come again?
Why is that?
Yeah, I remember one of my friends did a course at the University of Education, and then he was told that that particular course is not meant for education. So up to now, his certificate is lying there, gathering webs, and so on. So at the end of the day, if you bring someone who is not qualified to lead us, it is neither here nor there.
Alex, if your teacher unions accept this appointment, what will be your position as a teacher?
Come again?
If your teacher union should go into today's meeting and then go and accept that they will allow this to pass, they will agree to the appointment, what will be your position?
Then that would be very unfortunate because we respect their opinion. But if that happens, then it means, first of all, they shouldn't have done what they are doing now. So I believe in my leaders, and I hope probably they will listen to us.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And that'll be it for the conversation we have. Kwesi Kwarteng has been very helpful for us this morning. Kwesi Kwarteng, quoting all the laws
the
in
man
Ghana.
who is busy accusing you of bias.
Yeah, he says I'm biased.
Anyway, this is right.
Wait, and then also,
right.
and
That's
then,
the beauty of a democracy.
And then also we have Clement Apak, deputy ranking on the Education Committee, and then also Kofi Asari joining us from the Africa Education Watch as a deputy executive director. Well, we have Gilbert from Chebi, because the course we're being told we're coming for all direction. Let me take the Chebi call.
Oh, okay.
Chebi.
Okay, this gives me a hint.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Please, are you a teacher?
Yes, I am.
Okay, because Kwesi Kwarteng said the calls were coming from one direction. So now that they are spreading, I decided I wanted to take this.
They have to change the names of where.
Okay. So you which district do you teach in Chebi? Or Chebi?
Yes, I teach in Ebuakwa South.
The Ebuakwa South. Okay. Kwesi Kwarteng, are you okay now?
No, let him proceed.
Okay,
It's
please
fine.
proceed. Your concerns about the appointment of the DG?
I am against the appointment of the DG.
Why?
In the sense that this is a profession, a teaching profession. Therefore, we need someone who has gone through the mill as far as teaching is concerned to be able to lead us and then lead us in the right direction. You see, we must learn as a country. We always quote other countries. Go to Canada and look at the ministers, even ministers, those who are holding those positions. You see, we must be serious as a country. This is not a case where we cannot get any qualified person who has gone through the mill as far as education is concerned, that is GES, to head us. So bringing someone, an individual, one person, cannot hold all these larger, professionals, that is the teaching profession, into ransom. All the students that have been entrusted under the care of these individuals. If it would take the president to take this person off so that peace and calm will be restored, I think it will best help us as a nation rather than dragging it here and there. This is an individual. Let's sacrifice the individual for the benefit of the masses. It will best help us. Other than that, it will raise a whole lot of things. People are not happy on the ground. And there are a lot of qualified people on it. I'm a teacher myself. I want to rise up. So when someone gives way, I also get the opportunity to move to the next level. By India, we are bringing in people from outside. In fact, I beg to say that this will not lead us anywhere. So we plead with the president and then the minister to agree to this, to accept the concern of the teacher unions. And they are speaking the voices of the ordinary teachers, all the teachers within the country. Let's help in this regard to help our nation move forward. This is my submission. Thank you.
Charlie. What a teacher. Gilbert from Chebi, Ebuakwa, Kwesi Sawate. Well, so we're in a conversation. Mr. Thomas Musa, your last words. It shouldn't be long, oh. Please.
Oh, so Roland, once again, I think we have had some discussions here. I have no further statement to make than saying that 2 o'clock, the three of us shall be at the table and take it up from there. Thank you very much, and God bless us all.
Thomas Musa is the General Secretary for the Ghana National Association of Teachers. But it's been a great conversation. We all agree to disagree, Jojo, to make sure we come to some conclusion as a country, right?
Well, yeah, that's the beauty of democracy.
Right.
Yeah.
And
so, GM.
That's how do I respond?
I'm saying thank you.
Okay.
When I say GM, you say GM.
GM.
My pussy. Means I'm greeting.
That's the member of parliament for Musa South as well, and
your old buddy.
Yes, yeah, old buddy. University of Ghana.
Yes.
Theology department.
When I was in charge of Forum for Governance
and Radio Universe and all that.
Yes.
Yeah. And a former chief.
See him.
We're taking a break, but make sure that throughout the rest of the show, when you want to have the conversation and send the messages, you add the hashtag TV3 New Day, and then go look for us. We're talking about TV3 Ghana. We're across Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. We're taking a break. We'll be right back with more.